All right. Welcome back, everyone, to the deep dive. We're going to be tackling something pretty fascinating today.
Yeah.
Adaptive learning technologies.
It's a really interesting field.
Yeah. And it's something that I know you know a lot about. So I've read some articles and stuff in preparation for this.
Great.
But I'm really excited to kind of like hear your take and kind of get into the nitty gritty of how this stuff
Yeah.
works.
Yeah, absolutely. Adaptive learning is really transforming the way we think about education. It's using these really sophisticated algorithms and AI to personalize learning experiences for each individual student.
So it's like having a, robot tutor for every student.
In a way, yeah. It's about creating this sort of personalized learning path that adapts to the students' strengths, weaknesses, and their own pace of learning.
Yeah, that's what I was reading about, and it's really interesting because like the source that I was looking at was talking about how like it's becoming increasingly prevalent, like in
Yeah.
K through 12 and higher education.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're seeing it everywhere from elementary schools to universities.
So how does it actually work? Like I'm trying to wrap my head around it. Is it like a textbook that magically rewrites itself?
Well, you're not far off. Think of it this way. Imagine a textbook that can rearrange its chapters, change the difficulty of its questions, and even offer different explanations based on how you're doing.
So like if I'm struggling with a concept, it'll slow down and maybe even give me some extra practice problems.
Exactly. And on the other hand, if you're breezing through it, it can speed things up and introduce more challenging material.
Okay, so I see how that's different from a traditional classroom where everyone gets the same lecture and the same homework assignment.
Right. In a traditional classroom, a teacher is trying to teach to the average student. But with adaptive learning, each student is getting a learning experience that's tailored just for them.
It kind of reminds me of personalized medicine, where doctors are using genetics and other data to create custom treatment plans.
That's a great analogy. In both cases, it's about moving away from a one-size-fits-all approach and recognizing that everyone is different.
So this seems like a win-win, right? Students get personalized attention, teachers get data-driven insights, and we could potentially see better outcomes for everyone.
Yeah, in theory, there's a lot of potential, but of course, it's not a silver bullet. There are challenges too.
Like what?
Well, first off, you have the technical side of things. Integrating these systems into existing curricula can be complicated, and there's always the potential for glitches and technical difficulties, and then
Yeah.
you have the equity issue.
Right, because not every student has equal access to technology or reliable internet.
Exactly. And if we're not careful, adaptive learning could actually widen the gap between students who have resources and those who don't.
That's a really important point. But couldn't it also be used to help close those gaps? Like, if the system can identify students who are struggling and provide them with extra support.
Absolutely. It has that potential. But it really comes down to how these systems are designed and implemented. We need to make sure that they're actually addressing the root causes of learning gaps and not just perpetuating existing biases.
So what are some of the coolest adaptive learning tools out there right now? What should I be checking out?
Well, Khan Academy is a great example. They offer a huge library of free online courses in everything from math to history, and their system is really good at personalizing the learning experience.
I've heard of Khan Academy. What about something a little more outside the box?
Okay, well, there's Duolingo, which uses gamification to teach languages. It's super engaging and actually makes learning
Oh
fun.
yeah, Duolingo. I've used that before. It's pretty
Yeah,
addictive.
it is. And that's the power of these technologies. They can make learning more engaging and even fun.
Okay, so paint me a picture. What does a classroom powered by adaptive learning actually look like? Are we talking no more lectures, no more textbooks?
Well, maybe not quite that extreme, but I imagine a much more dynamic and interactive environment. Students might be working independently on their personalized learning paths using a mix of digital tools and traditional resources.
And the teacher's more like a coach or a mentor, working with individual students to help them progress.
Exactly. They're there to guide, support, and provide that human connection that's so important in education.
That's pretty cool. So it's not just about replacing teachers with robots. It's about empowering teachers to do what they do best.
Right. It's about using technology to enhance education, not replace it.
So as we wrap things up here, what are some of the key takeaways that you would want our listeners to remember about adaptive learning?
Well, I think the biggest takeaway is that this technology has the potential to truly personalize education in a way that's never been possible before.
And that could lead to better outcomes for students, more engaged learners, and a more equitable education system.
Exactly. But we need to be mindful of the challenges, ensure equitable access, and make sure these systems are designed and implemented in a way that benefits all students.
That's a really important point. And as these technologies continue to evolve, it raises some really profound questions about the future of education.
Yeah, like who gets to decide what we learn and how? And how do we balance the power of algorithms with the human element of teaching?
Those are some big questions, and I don't think there are any easy answers. But it's definitely something that we all need to be thinking about.
Absolutely.
Well, this has been an amazing deep dive into adaptive learning. I feel like I've learned so much, and I hope our listeners have too.
Me too. It's been a great conversation.
Thanks for joining us.
My pleasure.
And to all our listeners out there, keep exploring, stay curious, and we'll see you next time on The Deep Dive.